Hey, I just wanted to thank you all for the amazing comments that were left in the first video. Wow, I'm blown away by the response. Some of you have had some really incredible, amazing spiritual experiences. And a lot of you are dealing with some really huge issues right now. I know how hard it is. And that's why I know how important my work is. So hit that like button if you also feel that this work is really important. Yeah, in the first video I shared about, a little bit about myself and how I went from being this successful engineer in corporate America to getting really sick and having a near-death experience, and then knowing that I have this message to share with you. And at the end of the video yesterday, I asked if you wanted to share about some of the craziness that's happening in your life and what you're dealing with right now. So again, I just really want to thank everybody for what the messages that they left. It is God's will to guide us. He gave us all that we need to be able to receive His guidance, and like a radio station, we are receiving music out of the airways. We can receive God's guidance if we tune to the right radio station, right? And the dial that you use to tune your radio station is your heart. And since God is pure love, and you want to get on the same frequency to receive from God, what you need to do is tune your heart to love. And gratitude is the closest thing to pure love. Excuse me. But sometimes things are really hard. Excuse me. I'll cut that one out. But sometimes things are really hard, and you feel so lost. Sometimes it's hard to do that. It's hard to tune to love and to fill your heart with love. But so gratitude is close, But yeah, so I was a navigation engineer for like 28 years, and I was designing navigation guidance systems for like missiles and stuff, smart missiles, and for the GPS network. And then when I crossed over is when I realized that I was chosen to come back and to share this message with you, that it is God's will to guide you, always. He wants us to have a joy-filled life. So what I did was I developed a method to be able to use our bodies as a GPS receiver, so that we can see ourselves as a radio receiver and tune into the frequency and receive that guidance. And but some of the objections that I heard from that video was, well, life is so hard. How can I fill my heart with love when there's so much heartache? But what better way to appreciate the goodness in life? Without the heartache, how can you realize how grateful you should be? Like if you have ever seen someone like going through hell, right? They're just going through a really hard time and they're still smiling, right? They're smiling through it all. That's gratitude. They know how hard it is. They know how hard it can be, and they know how important it is to be thankful for each blessing, right? They're still happy even through the difficulties. So some of you might be still thinking, well, yeah, so, but I can prove this to you by showing you the opposite. If you fill your heart with anger, negativity, what happens? What happens is the world around you begins to look angry and full of despair. Oh, there's cameras all over the place. But anyway, yeah, so you start to see what you feel. right? Just like a radio tuner, you attract what you resonate. Yeah. So, but there's more than just these two components to a radio. There's more than just the dial to the radio. There's also the antenna. The antenna is really a really important part of the radio. It acts like a doorway. So the way it works is, if you have a functioning antenna and there's nearby signals in near your doorway, near your antenna, with a good functioning antenna, you'll let all these signals in. But if it's not functioning very well, then it won't let it in. And the antenna is it's a little gland right in the center of your brain. It's called the pineal gland, and it looks like a little pineapple. That's why they call it a pineal gland, because it looks like a little pineapple. And tests show that part of your brain lights up when you pray and when you meditate. That part of your brain lights up. It is that place where the physical world connects with the spiritual world. And but unfortunately, the modern world exposes us to so many things that cause the pineal gland to stiffen up, calcify, especially fluoride, tobacco, alcohol, but also the electromagnetic waves that are all around us, including the ones on cell phones and laptops and anything wireless, and 5G. So, but there's things you can do to help keep your antenna healthy, and some of the biggest is just avoiding those things, protecting yourselves from electromagnetic waves, not swallowing the toothpaste when you brush your teeth. Make sure you spit it all out, and meditate and pray daily. Just exercise that connection between you and spirit. I wanted to talk a little bit about fear too. Fear plays a huge part in how well our antenna, our whole navigation system works. There's a man by the name of Dr. Stephen Porges who developed the Polyvagal Theory. So this vagal system, if you were exposed to trauma as a child while this system was developing, it's especially more difficult for you. So the vagus nerve is called it's called the wandering nerve because it wanders all over your body, and it helps your organs interact with your brain and your brain to understand the world around you. But if this wandering nerve isn't, it's not mature when we're born. We have to actually experience the world around us for that system to develop. And so if you experience trauma when this is developing, then it doesn't develop properly, and you have a different way of experiencing fear, especially fear. So there's a primitive branch to the vagus nerve, and the primitive nerve is for just survival. It kicks in when you're afraid, and it helps your body to either fight, run away, or freeze. Pretend you're a possum thing, play dead. And then there's the evolved branches, which are higher in the body, and they include things like in the brain, the mind, for thinking about what we're thinking about, right? For self-soothing, for talking ourselves down from fear and anger, and for communicating with others. It's very important. But the primitive branch, which is down low in the body, you think of like the pit of the stomach, that corresponds to like the root and the sacral chakras, the energy centers. They're called chakras. And then the evolved branches, which are higher in the body, are associated with the brain, the voice box for communicating, and that corresponds to the third eye and the throat energy centers, chakras. So this basically means that you cannot function as an evolved, conscious human if you're fearful, if you're full of fear, everything shuts down, and you can't communicate. You lose all control, and you can be completely controlled if you're afraid. And this is why I will not feed into the fearful narratives of the mainstream media, the constant bombarding of negativity and fear. These are critical times in human history, not just because of everything that's happening in the news, but because of how we are being controlled with fear. So think about that. Hey, listen, tomorrow I'm going to put out another video, and this one's going to explain the overall method of how our bodies act like a radio guidance system. So far I talked about the tuning dial, the heart, and the antenna, but there are 5 other parts to this radio, and what I'll do in the next video is I'm going to describe how they all work together to act just like a radio, just like a GPS system, like the one that you have on your phone. So how awesome is that, right? Imagine having your body understanding how it acts like a GPS navigation system, and to be guided by spirit, to get you through life, to create a joyful life, to get you past stuck and moving forward each day for a joyful life. So if you liked this video, the message, please hit the like button, and if you want to post a comment below, I would love to hear some more of your experiences, your thoughts, maybe how is fear showing up in your life and how is it affecting your life. And yeah, and thank you so much for being here. Have a joy-filled day.